Dear boomers, unconditional love is the experience of a lifetime. If you haven't experienced unconditional love for more than one person, for a group of people, or for the whole entire humanity, then you better get to work. Let's look at it this way. If you have a dog, they teach you about unconditional love, so you probably have experienced that through them. And of course, I've had dogs all my life, and I have had an experience of unconditional love through them. There's no doubt about that. But when my mother died, that was unbelievable, an unusual experience for me, because even though I loved her very much and I was very sad to see her go, something unusual happened to me. My husband and my brother were both with me, and when my mother died, she had, at the time, and even before, she had a stroke, and then she had a heart attack, and then she was on a little bit of life support, a little bit of oxygen, nothing serious. But she, as she died, she had aged in her illness, and as she died, all of those lines disappeared from her face, and she looked like a 14-year-old child. And then, once again, that breathing thing that we were talking about yesterday, it's almost like she took a breath and exhaled and was gone. And that, what I find to be very interesting, is this is sort of an interesting point, that when a baby is born, I've been a labor and delivery nurse for over 40 years, the baby takes a big breath in, and when you die, you take a big breath out. I took a while to put those pieces together, but that's very interesting. So then, when my mother died, there was a light in the room that was unmistakable. My brother saw it, and Tom saw it, and I saw it. And then, suddenly, within the next 2 weeks or more, I experienced true unconditional love. I actually wanted to go out into the world to meet anybody I could meet, and I just naturally loved them. It wasn't anything I was trying to do or, forcing myself to do. I actually loved everybody and everything, even though I was feeling so sad too, and I would cry without provocation, although there was a reason for it. And that was an unusual experience. Unconditional love. So then, that was in 1987, and then Tom had 3 heart attacks before his final 4th with COVID in the year 2020. So his first heart attack was in the early 90s, and we got him through that, and I discovered a physician that was coming to town who taught healing with love. And oh my God, I was so excited. We had joined a macrobiotic cooking class, and I tried to cook macrobiotic food. That didn't work out very well. I'm really not a good cook. But macrobiotic cooking takes a certain skill to make it even, appetizing in any way. And I know people who do very well with that. So we joined this macrobiotic cooking class, and I saw this sign for Healing with Love. Leonard Lasko was coming to Lancaster. Wow, oh my God, I was so excited. Didn't take any time at all to convince Tom that this was really cool, because he and I thought the same way in many ways, and we had spiritual beliefs and spiritual curiosity. So Leonard came to town, and Tom became his client, Leonard's client. And Tom started taking certification courses in healing with love. It's called Holo Energetic Healing. And I started to take it. I was able to take one of my dogs to Toronto. That's not the way you say it, Toronto. And I was able to take the dog, even though he wasn't allowed in to these courses. So he and I spent a lot of time outside, and we slept in the truck at night. And I was able to look at the stars all night long. And so what happened was, my husband became kind of a practitioner in unconditional love. And he really did live it. He had a hard time because of the trauma he had in his lifetime. And he was able to heal a lot of that through just unconditional love. And through the unconditional loving process, there's a lot of breathing. Yesterday we were talking about the breath and breathing and meditation. And there's a lot of meditation in Leonard Lascaux's work. Leonard is probably close to 90. He lives in Switzerland right now, so I'm not in close contact with him. But the breathing of the unconditional loving process, and also Leonard had a process called the forgiveness process. And the whole idea of me taking this course was not for, healing my heart. I did not have heart disease, but I decided to take this learning into my workplace. At the time, I was working at a very busy labor and delivery unit, and birth after birth after birth was occurring. And so I would use the breath, and that would be a grounding, centering, and aligning idea where you bring the breath up to the heart and down from the crown of your head, and you circulate the breath in your heart and send it out to the people you were helping at that time. And it was unmistakable in how much it helped. I mean, I have used it all along in many different situations. One time, I was with a midwife and the patient and the doctor because the patient was not able to deliver her placenta, which can be a recipe for postpartum hemorrhage. So I did this thing about grounding, centering in the heart, and aligning and bringing that breath into the woman's placenta. And by God, it delivered immediately. So not to say that this is always something that is successful. There are certain situations where the person has their own destiny, and that includes death. Or illness leading to death. We often try to put our will into changing a person's trajectory away from death and into healing, but it's not really us that's doing it. We're channeling the higher powers. We're channeling the divine when we do anything with the breath. And in Leonard's case, it was a little different approach. And then Tom took on learning with Will Johnson, whom I work with now. His thing with the breath is bringing the breath through the body and down through the body with inhaling and exhaling. And we have discussed many times the whole idea of the inhale at the time of birth and the exhale at the time of death. And this is just the way it is. I mean, you can visualize all of these things and realize that we are preparing for our own death by concentrating on the breath. And also we are by concentrating on the breath, we are getting in touch with our own life force and allowing this flow of energy to always be there for us when we need it. And oftentimes we do need it. And there's certain things in the world that are very troubling. And I think that the war in Gaza is very dangerous to all of us, in the sense that all these people are dying, children are dying. It's very hard to separate your heart from this kind of suffering. So we use the breath to heal ourselves of this trauma in the world. And there's so many other traumas in the world that we must take into it is our responsibility to love and forgive everything outside of ourselves so that inwardly we are also loved and also forgiven. I want to also say something important, and that is We are really divine, as we are the divine essence. We can't really do anything in this material world that has to do with bringing life, unconditional love, and forgiveness into our heart without kind of being in the world but not of the world. As Jesus said, being in the world and not of the world means that we operate on a different level than the ordinary. And it's the extraordinary perception of living in a higher realm of consciousness as much as we can. And as we practice, we can do it all the time. And in that realm, we are really not in the material. We are not in the Newtonian physics realm. We are actually in the realm of the quantum fields. When we separate ourselves from this world and we see ourselves as, we kind of detach ourselves from our identity and from the past, and we look into the future as the beautiful masterpiece that we are forming if we put our minds to it. If you like this video, please click below and subscribe to my channel, and as well as liking the video and setting a notification for when I go live again, or this is not live, but when another video is ready for you to view. Namaste. Peace on earth. Breathe. Bye-bye.